Hello, welcome, and looking forward to sharing the tulip work and enjoying this tulip talk today. So we're going to start with a little blessing, and let's pray for peace in the world and harmony and love of the heart, for all of us to really feel what's in our hearts, truths, and learn more about the tulip blossoms and the tulip ways and language. Okay. So I'm going to start with a quote from the book that I wrote. It has to do with trusting our lives and the universe. As sometimes life is not very easy, and we really have to step outside our own selves and trust. By deeply trusting, you give the universe no other option but to rearrange itself to deliver your expectation. For you have no doubt whatsoever that God or divine intervention wants your highest good. Having faith is the key to all success. So, tulips mean actually perfect love in ancient Persian mythology, and it's a great guide to work with in our lives as we are struggling to find out who we are and how we are in relationship to others. And it's something that I've gone through myself as a journey, having had difficult childhood issues, or my own parents being divorced, and my mother was in the Holocaust, blessed her memory, and I lost my sister at a young age. I know what it is to have had difficulties and suffering, so coming back to a place of still knowing that there is divine love and perfection in our nature, in God's creation, in ourselves and others. And like tulip, it has such beauty. It is just a very blessed grail of existence. So when you actually become more in tune to this flower, you can try to become as that essence you're in yourself. And so that's what I've been doing all my life, is trying to come back to compassion and love within myself and also with others. And we shy away from our own beauty, and so it's very hard to just blossom basically in our lives, and we're so accustomed to walk around and being less than who we are. So because of my difficulties in life, it's been challenging to blossom all the time. My parents divorced when I was only 2 years old, and I had to learn to blossom myself, even though my parents really loved me, but it was just difficult not to have the regular nucleus family. And so many of us have grown up in divorced families or dysfunctional families. So it's a really nice guide to learn how to grow from within. And because of the tulip means perfect love, it's just to finding that inner beauty in ourselves. And we, like the tulips, we need love, and they need sun and love in order to grow. So their nurturing is the light and love of existence. And we too, we need our parents to love us, we need the society to love us, we need our workers to love us, and we think we can manage without it, but we don't. I mean, some of us are doing fine, we have great, wonderful, loving lives. But some of us are really struggling to find that place in ourselves that feels acknowledged, recognized. So the tulip love comes to give another chance, if we didn't have good childhoods, to say, you know what, we're all beautiful beings, and that's all. What's so beautiful about the tulip, it's not coming from an ego place. It just says, I am beauty, and let's rejoice in our own beauty together in the garden of flowers. So that's one of the things that I've learned from this blossom. Of course, there's so many different flowers in the world, and I just chose this image because it's very Kabbalistic, or image, or should we say form, because it's very Kabbalistic. It is actually a vehicle to receive God's love from above. So it has 6 petals, which is also like a perfect Star of David. It has 2 triangles, 3 inner petals, and then 3 outer petals, that creates a receiving form for the light from above. So when we let that come into ourselves, we're able to hold existence better. And the other part that's really hard for us in our lives is to own our beauty. And the tulip does that. It doesn't just own its beauty because it's beautiful, but it's also owning its majestic qualities. And that's something we really can learn. Now, how can you say, well, I can't learn from it? Flower, it's just a flower, but it has its own secret ways. It has its own language. And so if we're modest enough to look at that, we can discover inner tenderness in ourselves. And also, we're extremely vulnerable and tender beings. And because I've had such an intense life, and being a sensitive being, my parents were very sensitive too, I sort of had to learn it that way, to see that we all have these qualities inside ourselves, but we have to compensate, because there is no place in life to share those sensitivities. Like if we're hurt or the boss screams at us, we have to play as everything is fine and cool and business as usual. But it's not. Inside, our inner child is hurt and doesn't know what to do with it. And we need to create more frameworks or frames in our lives where we can say, you know what, that really hurt me. Can we talk about this? I'd like to be able to communicate. I'd like to be able to move forward together. And the inner child has not had a space. It's becoming more and more open now in the world, God willing. And the new generation of children, the indigo children, rainbow kids, and the crystal children, already have so much love, because we now know how to nurture a child better than when we grew up a few centuries ago and a few decades ago. So there is a wonderful future ahead of us, and for those who still want to feel their own self-love, I invite you to look at this place in you and create space to honor your own suffering or pain, and also your beauty, because we are not allowed to be powerful or beautiful. Some places more than others in the world. I grew up in Sweden. In Sweden, we have something called jantelagen, which means you're supposed to be average and you can't be too much standing out. In America, it's more like, you know, the bigger the better. It's the other side of the coin. So if we can find a place of walking in beauty without ego and feeling self-worth, that is the goal of the Tulip Love. And I really wish for all of us to come to that place in ourselves, to acknowledge that we're really sensitive. And it's tough though, because we can't go around and crying or going to the boss and saying, you really hurt me. But we have to find ways to let those voices or feelings come out, if at the end of the day, meditate or ground or take care of ourselves in a loving way. So I wish for us to find more peace at heart, God willing.